Right, hi. So a few people are saying that they find the questions very hard because they don't have a calculator that keeps keeps pi in the answer. So I'm going to use this calculator instead, and I'm even going to show you what the problem is, right? So it's if you do things like 5 times pi, and all of a sudden it's not even using the pi symbol anymore. It's just giving a really long decimal, and then you press equals, and instead of saying 5 pi, it's giving it straight away as a decimal. And so people are understandably not sure what to do when the Heggerty task is asking them to keep pi in the answer. So I'm even going to show you that we can do this even with a calculator that doesn't even have pi on it at all. One of these very simple calculators that just has the main functions: squaring, square rooting, reciprocal, and the percentage button and the plus or minus. We don't even need a pi button at all, and we can still answer these questions. Obviously, it's a lot easier if you've got a pi button, and it's even easier if your calculator keeps pi in the answer. This is why owning your own calculator was already a good idea even when you were at school. Now it's probably even more important. Now, there are online scientific calculators. If you can find one that keeps pi in the answer, then that would be great. I did, in the Thursday's lesson, share an app which you can get on your phone, which does this, but I think you might end up having to pay. I haven't investigated it fully. It gave me a warning when I installed it on my phone saying it's going to start charging me after 3 days. It only has a 3-day free trial. So I want to make sure that I've made a video that explains what to do, even if your calculator might not even have a pi button. Okay, so you imagine you've got this question. It's the same question from yesterday's video. Maybe question 1 says, what's the arc length? And it wants it in terms of pi, right? That's what the Heggerty task was asking. Quite a lot of them were asking for it in terms of pi. And maybe question 2 is the sector area, again, in terms of pi. And so the question is how are we going to do this when our calculator just has these buttons? Well, you go as far as you can, and then I'll show you what to do. So okay, let's look. Question 1: your arc length has a formula. It's theta out of 360 multiplied by pi d. That's what it is. So let's fill this in as much as we possibly can. We've got 117 over 360 times pi times d, which for us will be 38, right? Because 19 is the radius, so the diameter is 38. And now the question is right, well, if I start trying to type this into my calculator, I get stuck, right? I mean, I don't even have a pi button. And even if I did have a pi button, it doesn't help me, right? Because it's not going to keep it in terms of pi. It goes wrong really, really quickly if I try to do this. There's no way of recovering pi from this. So the way you want to do this is put the pi at the end. This is just a product. It's 3 things times together. It's a fraction times pi times 38. It doesn't matter what order you times in. So let me write it like this. I'm going to put the pi in a different color. So this pi is basically going to just hang around. All you're going to actually do is type in 117 over 360 times 38. Which, when the computer isn't frozen anymore, will be something I can do. So this equals, so if I do 117 divided by 360 and times that by 38, okay, I get 12.35. So this is in the situation where it's giving me a decimal. I suppose you could be wondering, well, what if it wants it as an improper fraction in its lowest form? Well, that's why it's easier if you've got a calculator that will do this for you. Okay, that is literally why it's easier. But you can convert 12.35 into a fraction in its lowest form. For example, I know it's going to be 1,235 over 100, right? I know that it's going to be that. So if I wrote it like this, I mean, this is obviously more long-winded, isn't it? But it's because if you don't have a calculator that's just going to do this for you, you have a bit more work to do. That's why these calculators exist, because they help you do the work. So then it would come down to, can you simplify this? And of course you can. So if I divide top and bottom by, let's do 5 in the first place, 247 on the top, 20 on the bottom. Pi. That pi, because we know that our final answer is still just going to have pi in it, you don't need to bother typing it into the calculator. Just do the number part, if that makes sense. I know pi is a number, but if you forget about the pi and just do the nice normal numbers, you can remember about pi at the end, right? And so I've answered that question there without having to type pi in at all. I didn't do anything there that involved typing in pi. Okay, the complicated part is if you've got a really simple calculator that won't even give you a simplified fraction, which for example this one doesn't, there's an issue when it's going to give you a decimal, right? When it gives you a decimal instead of giving you a fraction. Again, that's not really something that that can necessarily be helped. I'm going to check to see what the Google calculator does. If on Google, let me just type this in on Google, 117 divided by 360 and then times that by 38. So again, that gives you a decimal. So let's try the one that I shared yesterday on Teams. Let's have a go at this. So 117 divided by 360, but then times that by 38. Right, great, look. So if you go to this online calculator, this is just a website. It can give you this as a simplified fraction, which is actually saves you a bit of time. Now this online calculator can be located at this address here, which I will insert as a text box. If you go to that address there, unfortunately this one suffers with the same problem as a lot of people are having. If I now times this by pi, it has that same problem, right? It doesn't tell you what the answer is in terms of pi, okay? However, what it does is, so let me maybe put that there. Gosh, it's the screen is quite congested. Right, you see that it's got the calculation that we want, but it's not giving it in terms of pi. That's this calculator here at desmos.com. However, what that calculator will do, which is a bit better than this one, is it will at least give you the fully simplified fraction instead of giving you 12.35. Okay, so that's what you want. Right, let's do another example. Let's do question 2. Actually, let's do that now. Show you the same idea. So number 2, of course, the sector area is going to be 117 over 360 multiplied by pi times 19 squared. So this is 117 over 360 times 19 squared times, you guessed it, I'm just going to put pi at the end. I'm not going to even, it's not even really going to get involved, is it? Now if I go to that desmos.com/scientific and type in 117 over 360 times 19 squared and then turn it into a fraction, it tells me it straight away. Let me do a little screen cap of this for you. So this is from that website. It's telling me it is 4,693 over 40. 4,693 over 40. That's it after it's been fully simplified. And the pi just sort of tags on at the end there. Okay, that's what the scientific calculators at school is doing for you. It's keeping the pi there for you. You can actually do that yourself manually. Okay, you can totally do that yourself. So at this point, I actually don't really even need this. I can use that online calculator. I think that's actually probably enough. I was going to do a couple more examples, but I think I probably explained it enough. Any further problems, again, just ask on Teams, ask on an email. It's one of those things where you can't always get an immediate response, but hopefully this is going to help you out for further questions. This would also totally work if you were simplifying things with surds as well. So you don't actually need a really fancy calculator, for example. You can do it all like what I'm showing you here. It just makes it a lot easier if you do have a scientific calculator that can do that for you. Okay, right, see you later.